Call the Board of Trustees regular meeting Monday, February 3rd, 2020 at 6:30 to order. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Approval of meeting agenda.
Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to make a couple changes to the current agenda. Item 1 is to remove the closed session. Item 2 would be to add the cost recovery contract as item number M, under new business. And also to remove the 2 items of unfinished business until further notice.
So remove unfinished business, add cost recovery under letter M, and remove closed session, correct?
That is correct.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the agenda with the changes listed.
Second.
I have a motion by Trustee Gurley, supported by Treasurer Honnold. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Number 4, approval of minutes 1/6/2020, 1/15/2020.
I'd like to make a motion we approve the minutes of 1/6/2020 and 1/15/2020, that special meeting.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Clifford, supported by Trustee Gurley. Once again, any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Number 5, public announcements. Any public announcements? No public announcements. Number 6, public comment. Any public comment at this time? Number 7, consent agenda. All items listed under this consent agenda are considered routine by the Township Board and will be enacted by one motion. According to established Township meeting rules, there will be no separate discussion of these items unless a member of the Board or public so requests at or prior to the meeting, in which event the chair of the meeting may remove such items from the consent agenda for discussion and consideration under agenda item number 8 below. Approval of the consent agenda shall be by a majority roll call vote of those present and voting.
Mr. Supervisor, I would like to present to the board bills, invoices totaling $359,698.75.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the consent agenda with the orders and bills in the amount of $359,698.75.
Second.
I have a motion by Trustee Gurley, supported by Treasurer Honnold. For discussion, Deputy Clerk, roll call, please.
Gurley.
Aye.
Arnold. Aye. Kendall.
Aye.
Clifford.
Aye.
Trombley.
Aye. Thank you. Motion passes. Number 8, items removed from consent agenda. Letter B, EMS report. Mr. White, good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Supervisor, members of the board. It certainly is a privilege and an honor to be here tonight. Tonight's always one of the more enjoyable nights of the year we have at a township meeting because we get to swear in our new employees at the EMS. And so just to share, these employees have gone through the last 6 months or a year worth of their probationary period at the EMS and have been found to have gotten through that admirably and are now ready to be sworn in and provided their badges here this evening. So with that, I'm going to ask the 4 employees to come join me here and bring with them a member of their family who will help us pin their badges on. So in no specific order other than the order they came out of the envelope, Rachel Fox, EMT, Jeremy Drillard, EMT, Zoe Lamson, EMT, and Scott Grzanka, paramedic.
If any member of their family would like to take pictures, you can come up to this area.
Kind of stand right here, little guys, kind of behind me, and take her stand behind you that we'll be putting your badge on.
Honorable board members, as EMS professionals, we regard ourselves as members of an important and time-honored profession. As such, we administer to our employees at the conclusion of their probation an oath. The purpose of this oath is to ensure our citizens that we will conduct ourselves in a manner that will be a credit to the township and the ambulance authority. This evening, I present to you the following employees who, after taking their oath, will receive their badge. They are, again, EMT Rachel Fox, EMT Zoe Lamson, EMT Jeremy Drillard, and paramedic Scott Grzanka. Colleagues, if you would, please raise your right hand and answer "I do" to the following questions. I recognize at all times I am a public servant and that ultimately I am responsible for the safety and well-being of myself, my colleagues, and all citizens. I will accept responsibility for my actions by exhibiting honesty and integrity. I will promote diversity within our organization and ensure fair and open access to all who are called to serve. I will observe the highest principles of fairness and strive to meet those values which reflect honor upon the township, the EMS, and myself. I will seek to maintain and improve my professional knowledge, skills, and competence. Now, do you swear to follow and uphold all department SOPs, county medical treatment protocols, state and federal laws, as well as the state of Michigan and U.S. Constitution?
I do.
Finally, do you affirm you will not permit or cause any employer or agent acting on your behalf to do anything which would constitute a violation of this oath?
I do.
With that, I'll present you each with your badge and ask, your family member with your badge, and ask that they pin it on for you. They should slide right up. So we'll let you go ahead and do that. A couple of observations tonight before we conclude. One is, they keep looking younger and younger to me as we go through this process. I'm not sure what that says about me or them at this point. We also have, I think for the second time in the history of the EMS, our second husband and wife that have joined us at the emergency, at the EMS. And that is Patrick and Rachel Fox are here tonight. The last husband and wife that we had joined me almost 30 years ago in Jan and Marty Hartway, which are our township presidents. So hopefully you'll have as long a career as the two of them have had with our organization. With that, township board members and citizens at large, on behalf of the Richmond-Lenox Township Ambulance Authority, it is my privilege to formally present these sworn professionals who I now attest are fully prepared to serve you and our citizens. Thank you very much. I think it's next on the agenda, so I won't get too far.
Thank you, sir.
She's a big kid. Take care of yourself.
Give it a second, let everybody clear out. Okay, ready to go. Number 10, new business. Letter A, annual firefighter physical request. Mr. White, we need him on that.
Well, we have an item in our packets that he would like us to approve $9,325 for fire department physicals.
Are they currently in the fire department budget?
Yes, yes.
Any discussion?
Have no other questions?
I'll make a motion that we approve a total of $9,325 to BioCare for the administration of fire department firemen physicals.
Second.
I have a motion by Clerk Candell, supported by Trustee Clifford. Again, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Letter B, nuisance odor ordinance proposal. Mr. Casson. Evening, sir.
Good evening. You have before you an ordinance on odor control that was prepared by Mr. Addis's office. We've reviewed it and find that it, was well done, well completed. The odor ordinance is a base, came from our purchase a few months back of a nasal ranger, which is olfactometer, I think is what it's called. And what that does is it tends to, or tries to quantify odors within the air. A few of us have taken the course, the online course, and been certified in reading and using the olfactometer. This ordinance will take those readings and quantify them in odor or nuisance categories. And it's requested that you adopt that. And I may defer to Mr. Addis on any additional.
Attorney Addis?
Yes. Our office studied ordinances, statutes, some state statutes, local ordinances from around the country. And I think this is as close to being as good as we can get, but it is a new area. It is an untested area legally. So it's the best that we can do coming out of the box, but I want everybody to be aware that I'm sure this is a developing field with developing science, and it will be tested. In other words, there are no guarantees. It will be tested by someone somewhere down the road. That's it. Other than that, it's as good, and I think you should give it consideration.
Thank you, sir. Any other discussion?
I have no questions.
Make a motion that we approve the nuisance odor ordinance as presented with the proper publications in the newspaper. The clerk's office will assign ordinance numbers to it once it's approved. Thank you.
I second.
Motion by Clerk Candell, supported by Trustee Clifford. Discussion? Deputy Clerk, roll call, please.
Kendall.
Aye.
Clifford.
Aye.
Trombley.
Aye.
Connell.
Aye.
Gurley.
Motion passes. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Casson. Good work on that. Letter C, Planning Commission Subcommittee Appointments Request. Evening, Deputy Supervisor. Everybody should have a list.
Evening.
Right now, our recommendation of the supervisor for the subcommittee appointment, for the asphalt subcommittee, I should say. I'd like to recommend chairperson, liaison of Board of Trustees, Trustee Clifford, Scott Clifford. Liaison to the Zoning Board of Appeals, Mike Vidar. Resident Robert Schroeder. Resident Chris Holzbeck. And resident Joe Roselle. Also Karen Kaltz as recording secretary. These individuals will be paid $50 per meeting. We're hoping to get a recommendation out of them in roughly 3 to 4 meetings. We would ask them to, they've all been contacted, they are willing to accept the position. We're asking them to bring as much material as they would like to support whatever position they would have on the asphalt millings. And we would just need board approval to go forward with that. We have not set a date yet, Deputy Supervisor?
That's correct. Hopefully by the end of the month for their first meeting.
I make a motion we accept the proposed committee and complete setting a date and starting our meetings as presented. The current board, as long as they're all in agreement.
Is there, I'm sorry, does the motion include we can set a date after?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Motion by Trustee Clifford, supported by Treasurer Arnold. Any other discussion? Deputy Clerk, roll call, please.
Clifford.
Aye.
Connell.
Aye.
Kendall.
Aye.
Gurley.
Aye.
Trombley.
Aye. Thank you. Motion passes. Thank you.
Welcome.
Letter D, 2020 limestone program. I believe our DPW director's on the call.
He is.
Or if you'd like to cover for him,
Absolutely.
thank you.
Again, this year, their Macomb County Road Commission is giving all the communities 3 miles at a shared cost. They pay 90% and the townships pay 10%. CAM's requesting the 3 miles. You all have it in front of you, I believe. Forest Road from 30 to 31, 30-mile road, 1 mile going east from Haven Ridge. CAM does have concerns over the ditching or the lack of ditching and drainage on that road, so that'll be up to the county whether they're going to approve that or not. And then Omo Road from 30 to 31. Again, he's got concerns on that road with ditching and drainage.
Yeah, once again, these will be submitted. They're not guaranteed.
Correct.
We might have to submit others, but this is what we'd like to see done.
Correct.
But hopefully within coordination of some ditching to get the maximum effectiveness out of this application.
Yes. And Cam took some pictures of the road, of the concerns, so we're just going to submit that with the roads. Oh.
Any questions?
Make a motion that we approve the 2020 limestone agreement with the 10% that the township is responsible for the roads as listed by our DPW superintendent, Forest Road, 30-mile road, and Omo Road, if approved by the county.
Thank you.
Second.
I have a motion by Clerk Candell, supported by Trustee Gurley. Any other discussion? Deputy Clerk, roll call, please.
Kendall.
Aye.
Gurley.
Aye.
Clifford.
Aye.
Connell.
Aye.
Trombley.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Letter E, Macomb County Department of Roads General Road Maintenance Resolution.
Okay, we received a notice from the Macomb County Department of Roads that our resolution for the road maintenance contract, which is a 5-year contract, was up this year, and they were requesting that we redo a resolution. So I am presenting to the board tonight a resolution number 2020-1, which is a blanket permit for general road maintenance with the Macomb County Department of Roads.
Thank you.
Everything is the same as it was 5 years ago when it was passed. Nothing has changed.
I make a motion, we accept the resolution as presented.
Second.
Motion by trustee Clifford, supported by treasurer Arnold. Discussion. Deputy clerk, roll call, please.
Clifford.
Aye.
Arnold.
Aye.
Trombley.
Aye.
Gurley.
Aye.
Kendall.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Letter F, scanner purchase request. Deputy Supervisor.
Okay, before you is a proposal from Premier Business for the HB Design Jet T2600. It is 36-inch copier printer scanner, so the building department and planning commission can copy blueprints and
What are we proposing, that how long we lease it, Jeanette?
Purchase.
thinking of purchasing it.
Because it's going to be used mostly by the planner and the planning commission, basically, we'd like to purchase it outright using medical marijuana funds. The funds we took
It
in.
is legal for us to do that.
Yes, sir, it is.
And I'm fine with that. I've never really been high on leasing.
The only other thing I would add to this would be the maintenance contract for $495 a year. It includes 100% of parts, labor, but it doesn't include the ink. I asked about not doing that, and the cost would be $139 a month for 1,000 square feet of material, and it's just not cost effective that way.
That's not in the $9,900 price.
The maintenance contract?
Yeah.
No.
Jeanette, since this was dated July 30th, 2019, are they still going to honor that price?
Yes, I was in contact with them. I don't know if I copied that for you. I just talked to him about a week ago, and the prices are still good.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I have more.
I make a motion that we purchase the HP Design Jet T2600 36-inch color copier printer scanner at the cost of $9,995, utilizing medical marijuana funds that were received.
Maintenance.
Regarding the maintenance.
And approve the maintenance contract at $495 per year.
Thank you.
I second.
I have a motion by Clerk Candell, supported by Trustee Gurley. Any discussion? Deputy Clerk, roll call, please.
Kendall.
Aye.
Gurley. Aye. Clifford.
Aye.
Trombley.
Aye.
Arnold.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Letter G, copier purchase request.
There was a request from the assessing department for a copier. We've got 2 on there. I recommend, gotta look at it, I'm sorry. A,
Toshiba.
yes.
On a purchase. Right? Or no?
It's completely up to you guys.
I don't know what the board's pleasure is on that.
Completely up to you
Is there a
guys.
reason you're recommending A over B?
It's faster. I know it's only $45 per sheets per minute, the other one's 40. It holds more paper in the tray, just small things.
Are you recommending the built-in stapling option?
Yes,
I believe that we're talking about this copy machine going into the main room for the main office, the current copy machine being moved down to the assessing department for use there, correct?
correct.
Correct.
In the main area, not actually in Seth's or Lisa's office.
Right,
but-
right.
Yeah, I mean, it still can be used by anybody in the building.
I make a motion, we purchase the Toshiba eStudio 4515 AC for $4,898, adding the stapling option for $798, and the maintenance contract.
There is no maintenance contract on this one.
Oh, okay, I thought, well, that's on the bottom. That's right.
Yeah, it's just the cost of black and white, or black and then color.
Okay, that's fine.
Well, it does say it's billed quarterly,
Yes,
so that's what you want included, correct?
What's that, Ron?
You want that, the service contract that's billed quarterly?
Yes.
Now, Jeanette, if we lease it, do they maintain it?
sorry, I didn't ask that. It would work basically the same as ours does now. We're leasing ours now, right? So I can double check on that. I'm sorry.
Well, otherwise, you don't know what their service charges would be if we did lease it.
I do not. Because they don't have anything. Let me double check.
It's listed separate on your quote sheet, and it has lease amounts up top.
Yeah,
too, so I would say it's separate as it shows on the form here. As you can see, it doesn't say it's included in the lease either.
What it doesn't say, there's no...
You mean like a
Doesn't
maintenance
say
contract?
What's that?
Yeah, it's in with the per page price.
Correct.
Yeah, there's no added fee.
What I'm getting at is I don't believe the lease or the purchase is different than what this service contract. The service contract would be the same for both.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can gather that too by what I'm looking at now. All right. Well, I make a motion, we purchase it, not lease it, and keep the built-in stapling option at $48.98 plus the $7.98 for the stapling option.
I second.
I have a motion by trustee Clifford, supported by trustee Gurley. Any other discussion? Deputy Clerk, roll call, please.
Clifford,
Aye.
Gurley,
Aye.
Trombley,
Aye.
Connell,
Aye.
Kendall.
Aye.
Thank you. Letter H, time clock replacement. Madam Clerk?
Okay, everyone should have in front of them information on 3 different time clocks. In reviewing this information, I am recommending that we purchase 2 that would be replacing the time clock here in this building and the time clock at the DPW. One I would prefer is item number 3 in your list there. They're $247 each. This one would allow us to use our ID badges to scan. It'll scan our ID badges for time in. Also, it will scanning fingerprint for time in, so I think once we get used to it, it'll save some confusion. There are no time cards with this. It has thermal paper that prints off when we request it.
Yeah, and it's not that much more than the other two anyway. It's, what are we looking at?
No, and a couple, one of the other ones is cheaper. It's $100 and some dollars, but it requires us to have a software that's, so we have to spend extra money on software, which I didn't think was a
No, I don't.
necessary option.
I'm looking at number one, and that's not that much less.
Right.
I have a question. Would you consider the purchasing of the thermal rolls down at the bottom, how it shows the special package price with the box of extra rolls of paper and stuff for?
Obviously, that is something that we would need. Thermal paper is, 50 rolls is $17, so I would say, yeah, at this point, we would go ahead and order both.
So do you want it for the 278.98 that's down at the bottom, two of them?
We do not need the access cards.
Okay, so
Because
you
we
just
have
talked
access
about
cards,
the
so
paper.
my thought would be $247, obviously twice, and then one carton of thermal paper. We can share it between the two.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the purchase of the AT 5000 time clock for $247, twice, for one for the township office and one for the DPW, and $16.99 for 50 rolls of the thermal paper to be split between the two.
I second that.
Motion by Trustee Gurley, supported by Treasurer Arnold. Any other discussion? Deputy Clerk, roll call, please.
Gurley. Aye. Arnold.
Aye.
Kendall.
Aye.
Clifford.
Aye.
Trombley.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you. Letter I, Northeast Macomb Cable NEMC PEG fee remittance. Madam Clerk.
Okay, in the past, Comcast has paid PEG fees, which is program education government fees, directly to Northeast Macomb Cable. Recently, Comcast changed the way that they are doing that. They're now remitting the fees directly to us. By law, we have to remit those fees back to the cable, Northeast Macomb Cable. So what Northeast Macomb Cable is asking us to do is basically to make a motion to remit all public education government fees received from Comcast Cable back to them on a quarterly basis as received from Comcast.
Motion.
I will make a motion to remit all public education government fees received from Comcast Cable to Northeast Macomb Cable on a quarterly basis as received from Comcast.
Second.
Motion by Clerk Andel, supported by Trustee Clifford. Once again, any discussion? Deputy Clerk, roll call.
Kendall.
Aye.
Clifford.
Aye.
Arnold.
Aye.
Gurley.
Aye.
Trombley.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you. Letter J, Northeast Macomb Cable NEMC subscriber number increase. Madam Clerk, once again.
We remit to Northeast Macomb Cable the amount of 50 cents per month per subscriber as listed by Comcast. Northeast Macomb Cable relies on Comcast to provide the number of subscribers to them and bill participating communities accordingly. In the past, our township has paid for 860 subscribers. Comcast is now reporting that that number has risen to 1,138 subscribers. In 2019, Lenox Township remitted $5,160 to Northeast Macomb Cable. With the submission of the new number of subscribers, it's estimated that the new number we will be responsible to pay is $6,828. Northeast Macomb Cable is requesting that the board agree to accept the new numbers provided by Comcast and agree to pay 50 cents per subscriber per month. I I would like to make a motion that we table this for further information.
I was agree. I was just going to ask you the question about how we could confirm their numbers.
Support that motion?
Yes, I do.
That's the hard thing to do because they have had problems for years trying to get the numbers from Comcast. I will tell you that I reviewed the numbers, the actual franchise agreement numbers that Comcast gave them, and it does match the numbers that we received. But I think that we really need to do a little bit more research to make sure that we feel that we are getting what, I don't want to say what we're paying for because that sounds like, but I think we need to make sure that we do feel that this is an expenditure that we should continue making.
Okay. I second that.
Motion by Clerk Candell, supported by Trustee Clifford. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Letter K, set date for Parks and Recreation and Budget Workshop. Deputy Supervisor, please.
I'd like to schedule these on a Tuesday because this room is not being used. And 3:30 works for the first few. And it's up to you guys how soon you want to start this.
Do you have a recommendation of a date?
February 18th, which is 2 weeks from tomorrow. We can set a couple,
What time are we thinking?
3:30 to 5.
3:30 to 5, okay.
Yep. If we can schedule a couple, at least.
Any other recommendations?
That date works for me.
Motion.
Make a motion that we set the date of February 18th, time 3:30 to 5, to discuss the Parks and Recreation concession building usage and to begin work on a budget workshop.
A second.
Motion by Clerk Candell, supported by Trustee Gurley. Any other discussion?
I don't.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
No, that's it for right now. L, election inspection compensation proposal. Madam Clerk, once again.
We currently pay our election inspectors $9.50 an hour. Our election chair people get paid $10 an hour. As most of you know, the minimum wage went up to $9.65. We are required to pay at least minimum wage to our election inspectors. We are currently the lowest paying community to election inspectors. We did check that out, and so I would like some movement, some idea, something, what we would like to. We have to pay them at least $9.65 an hour. Sir.
I think my recommendation would be a minimum of $10 an hour.
That's I would go along with that. Yeah, $10 an hour for that to go up, not just $9.65.
Easier, yeah.
The chairperson, we have one of those also.
We have chairs for each precinct. Currently, they get paid 50 cents an hour more. So if we're going to follow in suit, I would say
10.50.
10 to 10.50.
I make a motion, we raise our election workers' pay to $10 an hour and the chairman to $10.50 per hour.
I'll second.
Motion by Trustee Clifford, supported by Treasurer Arnold. Any other discussion? Deputy Clerk, roll call please again.
Clifford,
Aye.
Connell,
Aye.
Gurley, Kendall,
Aye.
Trombley.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you. Letter M, cost recovery. Mr. White.
Mr. Supervisor, members of the board, tonight the board is scheduled to consider the idea of entering into a billing service agreement for our fire department cost recovery. Just a little bit of background, what fire department cost recovery basically is we have an ordinance that for certain situations, the fire department will potentially bill the person who caused the fire department's response, especially in the areas where there's some kind of negligence. So real briefly, an overview of your ordinance without reading it line for line is when fires are negligently caused for utility issues, down power lines, contractors that hit gas lines, things of that nature, that haven't called misdig. People in motor vehicle accidents where they are under the influence of drugs or alcohol, and various hazardous materials and transportation kind of emergencies. So that's what your ordinance currently allows you to do. For as many years as I can look back, the fire department has collected those internally, meaning they've sent bills and tried to track payments and worked with the insurance companies where they can to receive payment. There is a firm, there's only one that I'm personally aware of, that does cost recovery work for local communities. The local communities nearby that they do work for are Armada, Bruce Township, Clay, Fraser, Memphis, Roseville, Warren, and Washington Township. So they do this work for a number of our neighbors. Basically how it works is this, as opposed to a member of the fire department or somebody from the clerk's office having to deal with cost recovery and track cost recovery, we would hire this firm to whom we would pay 8% on the amount that on any amount that was collected. They have a fairly, what I'd call a standard billing service agreement, would be the best way to put it. And so before I ever brought it to the board, in liking to make sure we've always done our homework, I ran it by the township attorney's office, and they had a couple of concerns with regards to the language in the contract, and with that I think I'll turn it over to Mr. Addis to comment on that.
The contract is not unusual for the collection industry, and collection industry use when you do public services is kind of a necessary evil. We just gave you that memo to show what is positive and what are some of the negatives in the contract. It's not a legal decision to be made. Someone's got to go collect the money. We neither endorse nor condemn that contract or their approach. So it's a decision as to price and quality of service.
Thank you, sir.
I think my bigger concern is that doing the collection on our own, I can't tell the board that we would have the expertise within the fire department to do this in a way that would ensure that we don't cross a rule, law, or regulation with regards to collections. And so I have some comfort, while I share always, Mr. Addis and Mr. Kelly's thoughts on these matters with you, and some of their bit of a concerns about the contract language. I weigh that against potentially getting ourselves in a position of liability because we don't know any better. And so for that reason, my recommendation is that we would approve the agreement that you have in front of you this evening with Acumen Billing, and we will turn over then our cost recovery cases to that firm.
Thank you, Mr. White. Any other discussion?
And this is Jeff. This is only for fire services?
This is only for fire service, although the EMS does use the same firm for its ambulance billing. They're our third-party billing company, but that's a little bit different type of billing. That's pretty much something they do. They take the EMS run reports. They put medical coding with them, which is a world all unto its own for people who do it, and then they submit those to Medicare and Blue Cross and things of that nature on our behalf. So we do use Acumen at the EMS, but for a little different kind of a service.
Any other questions?
That's all I have. motion per the Public Safety Director's recommendation that we approve the agreement with Acumed for our fire department cost recovery as stated in the presentation.
Second.
Motion by trustee Clifford, supported by clerk Kandel. Any other discussion? Deputy clerk, roll call please.
Clifford.
Aye.
Kendall.
Aye.
Trombley.
Aye.
Gurley.
Aye.
Hamel.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. White.
Thank you.
Public comment. Any public comment at this time? Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Supervisor Trombley and honorable board members. I'm Jeff Yark. I think maybe you're aware of me. I'm the state representative for the 33rd House District, which does include Lenox and the New Haven area, Richmond area. I just want to say thank you for opening your hall, allowing me to conduct my listening tour. I get around to all my communities that are in the district throughout the year. And it was my stop to Lenox. So I always appreciate you open up allowing citizens to come in and have a good dialogue. So I do appreciate that. As I get around, it's also my kind of report to the board of what's happening. I think the latest thing, obviously we have a budget going forward. There was a little hiccup there around budget time regarding the vetoes and move money, and we came up with an agreement with our governor. Just want to let you know that if you've heard anything about the $3.5 billion in bonding, our governor did that under authority that she has on the Constitution. Don't get excited. There's not going to be any work coming to Lenox Township. That money is strictly for M roads, and M19 is not on that in the short-term list. So I just want to give you a heads up that that money is strictly for that. I'm looking at introducing a bill because we've got about $600 million still on the balance sheet that can go to roads. So I'd like to put that to counties, cities, and villages. Obviously, townships don't have jurisdiction over their roads, but if we're going to bond out for state highways, I'd like to try to get a little more money for cities, villages, and get our local major roads, done here too. So that's kind of what's happening with some of those things. As always, to the board and residents, I'm always available. I want to be an asset to assist you. There's state issues that come up. So thank you very much and have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rowe.
Any other public comment? From the board? Anybody? Okay, any motion?
Make a motion that we adjourn the board meeting at 7:18 p.m.
Second.
Motion by clerk Kandel, supported by trustee Gurley. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes, meeting adjourned.